Hey everyone, welcome back to British Accent Podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Nick. And today, we're diving into something that a lot of language learners, honestly, a lot of humans, experience but rarely talk about openly.
Yep. We're talking about burnout. That heavy, empty, foggy feeling where even simple things feel too much. And motivation. Just gone.
Exactly. And if you've ever found yourself staring at your English book or app and thinking, I just can't do this anymore, you're not alone. We've both been there too, in different parts of our lives.
It's so real. And it doesn't mean you're lazy or undisciplined. It often means you've been pushing yourself too hard for too long, maybe even with good intentions.
That's the tricky thing. Burnout often sneaks up on the people who care the most. The ones who've been trying their best for a long time without giving themselves enough rest, joy, or permission to just breathe.
And in today's episode, we want to walk beside you and explore how to gently rebuild your motivation, not by forcing yourself to do more, but by reconnecting with why you started learning in the first place.
We'll share some simple mindset shifts, real-life tips, and honestly, just some encouragement. Because sometimes, that's all we need, a reminder that we can begin again, even if we're not feeling ready.
And if your motivation feels completely gone right now, that's okay. Seriously. You don't have to feel motivated to start healing. You just need to start kindly.
So first things first, let's stop trying to push through the burnout like it's a weakness. Because when you're burnt out, what you need is rest, not guilt.
Exactly. And I think sometimes, especially for English learners, there's this pressure to always be improving. I haven't studied today, or I forgot that grammar rule again, and suddenly you're judging yourself non-stop.
Right. But learning a language isn't like charging your phone, it's not linear. Some days you're full of energy and focus, and other days, you can barely string a sentence together. That's not failure, that's being human.
Yes. And sometimes, rebuilding motivation actually starts with doing less. Like, instead of trying to memorize 50 words, what if you just watched a short English video that made you laugh?
Or reread something you already understand, just to feel a small win. Those easy wins are like emotional vitamins. They don't take much effort, but they remind your brain that, hey, I can do this.
You know what else helps? Shifting from perfection to connection. Like, instead of trying to speak perfectly, ask yourself, how can I connect with someone today in English? Maybe that's a comment on social media, or a voice message to a friend.
That's powerful. Because connection fuels motivation. When you feel seen and heard, even if your English isn't perfect, your brain starts to associate English with belonging, not just performance.
And let's not forget how important it is to take breaks that are truly restful. Not just switching from studying grammar to watching a YouTube tutorial, but actually resting. Like a walk. A nap. A moment of silence.
Sometimes the best thing you can do for your English is to not do English at all for a while. Give your mind space to breathe, to recover, to want it again, not because you have to, but because you get to.
I love that, because you get to. That changes everything. You're not a robot trying to upload data. You're a human being learning how to express yourself in a new voice. That takes time and tenderness.
And honestly, the way you talk to yourself during burnout matters so much. Are you being harsh and impatient? Or are you being kind, like you would to a friend who's tired?
Because sometimes, rebuilding motivation is really just rebuilding your relationship with yourself. Reminding yourself, I don't have to earn rest. I don't have to be perfect to be proud. I don't have to give up just because I'm tired.
Exactly. You can pause. You can slow down. You can even feel lost for a little while. That doesn't erase your progress. It just means you're real, and real learners grow in cycles, not straight lines.
And here's something people don't talk about enough. Sometimes, the reason we feel burnt out isn't just from studying too much. It's from expecting too much of ourselves every single day.
Yes. That inner voice that says, you should be better by now, or, why are you still making this mistake? That voice wears us down more than any vocabulary list.
It's exhausting. And it creates this loop where you stop enjoying learning, because it's no longer about curiosity or growth. It becomes all about fixing what's wrong with you.
Which is a lie. Because struggling doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means you're stretching, growing, and learning, and that's messy sometimes.
And that's okay. Progress is allowed to be messy. You don't have to get it all right on the first try. You don't need to impress anyone. This journey is yours.
And you know what's helped me in tough moments? Changing the question from, why am I not motivated, to, what do I need right now?
That's such a powerful shift. Maybe what you need isn't a new course, or more study time. Maybe it's something deeper, like encouragement, or rest, or even just knowing you're not the only one feeling this way.
Yeah. And sometimes the most helpful thing is reconnecting with why you wanted to learn English in the first place. Was it to travel? Connect with new people? Understand movies without subtitles?
Or maybe to tell your story, or get a job you care about, or feel confident when speaking up. Whatever your reason, it's still valid. Even if you've lost touch with it for a while.
Motivation isn't a permanent fuel source. It runs out. That's normal. What brings it back is creating space for joy, curiosity, and self-trust again.
And you know what's interesting? When you finally let yourself take a real break, a guilt-free one, your mind slowly begins to feel safe again. Safe enough to try. To care. To want to come back.
Absolutely. It's like giving your brain permission to breathe. And when it breathes, it remembers why it fell in love with learning English in the first place.
Right? I remember this time when I was burnt out, and instead of forcing myself to do another grammar lesson, I just sat on my couch and listened to one of my favorite English songs. No pressure. No goal. Just listening.
That's such a gentle way to reconnect. And sometimes that's all it takes, one small moment of enjoying English without judgment, to remind yourself that the spark is still there.
Exactly. The goal isn't to get back to normal quickly. It's to rebuild slowly, intentionally, and kindly. Even if that means your study routine looks different for a while.
It might mean fewer hours, more breaks, shorter sessions. But if you're showing up with kindness instead of pressure, you're already on your way back.
And I really want to say this to anyone listening. Just because you feel unmotivated now doesn't mean you've lost your potential. Burnout doesn't erase what you've learned. It just means you need care.
Yes. You are not broken. You're just tired. And that's a very human thing. Especially for someone doing something as brave and challenging as learning a new language.
So let's normalize rest. Let's normalize slow days. Let's normalize needing time to rebuild your spark, and doing it with compassion, not criticism.
Because healing your motivation isn't about doing more. It's about treating yourself like someone who matters, even when you're not performing at your best.
And the amazing thing is, when you do that, when you're gentle with yourself, you become more resilient. You bounce back stronger. Not because you forced it, but because you respected your pace.
So if you're listening right now and you've been feeling unmotivated, burnt out, or just plain exhausted from learning, we want you to know, it's okay.
More than okay. It's human. And it doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you've been trying really hard for a really long time. You deserve a deep breath. You deserve rest.
And when you're ready, you can come back, slowly, gently, and rebuild your motivation in a way that feels right for you. Not for a schedule. Not for someone else's idea of progress, but for your heart.
You're not starting over. You're continuing, with more wisdom, more compassion, and more strength than before.
Thanks for spending time with us today on British Accent Podcast. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who might need to hear it too.
And remember, you're not alone. You're doing better than you think. And we believe in you, even when you feel like giving up.
Take care of yourself. And when you're ready, we'll be right here, cheering you on.
See you next time.